Freaky Friday. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the meeting of online presenters of Virtual Toastmasters Club. Our mission is we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. I'm Sergeant at Arms Sunny Fridge, aka Dr. Sunny. To our guests, a warm welcome. We're excited by your interest in our club. Please note, if you're interested in joining online presenters, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International, completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches, and demonstrate your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech. If you have significant experience, that will be your best bet. And remember, all of the visitors who want to become members, the vote will be decided by our club. If you're just joining us, please make sure that you are muted when you're not speaking. And if you haven't done so, please change your role. Just hover over your video, click on the 3 dots, and change your name. Remember, our meeting is being recorded for marketing and educational purposes. So hopefully, if you do not want to be recorded, then you should turn off your video. However, we love seeing your smiling faces. And speaking of smiling faces, please help me welcome the president of our club, Joni Laidlaw. Welcome, Joni.
Thank you for that introduction, our Sergeant at Arms, Sunny Fridge. Now, everybody, you just actually heard it. You heard that this is actually the place where we empower our members to become more effective communicators and leaders. The beautiful thing about online presenters, though, is that it also gives you the opportunity to go, why is Zoom doing that? And when you do that, you actually have people who can answer you. It's technology. You never know. It will always get to you. But it'll actually give you a workaround, not just, hey, life sucks. That's how it goes. So today we have an agenda that is filled with inspirational speeches, some of them pretty long. So we're going to get into it, and there is nothing but to do it. But before we do that, I think you already heard from her before. She was our Sergeant at Arms, or is our Sergeant at Arms. She was our Sergeant at Arms last year, and she will be taking us through this meeting as our Toastmaster of the day. She will also be covering, I'm hoping it will offer us some edification about International Coaches Day. I know we're all ready to find out. Please help me welcome Sunny Fridge.
Hello, and thank you, Madam President. And again, hello, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I'm excited to be your Toastmaster of the day. And today's meeting theme fills my heart with gratitude and inspiration. Our theme is International Coaches Day. It's a celebration of mentors and coaches who shape lives through guidance, encouragement, and most of all, edification. Around the world recently, a day was set aside to honor those who help others grow in skill, resilience, and confidence, whether it's in sports, business, or life. It's a day to day, and it's a day to say thank you to those who have believed in us, sometimes even before we believed in ourselves. Now, for the edification of our guests and new members, our meeting today is divided into at least 2 powerful parts, maybe even 3. Stay tuned for that. Our first part, I do know, is definitely happening in a few moments. Prepared speeches. That's where we learn from planned presentations. Our second part, if we have enough time, is table topics. That's where we stretch our impromptu speaking skills. And our third part, evaluations, where we receive constructive feedback to grow. And of course, I can't do this alone. I have a fantastic team of facilitators by my side. First of all, our timer is here. Allison, please explain your role and welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. So as the timer, I will be timing our speeches and speaking sessions. I will be changing my background from standard online presenters to green, yellow, or red at the given time. At the end of the meeting, I will provide back with the general evaluator a summary of the timing for today's speeches. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Madam Timer. Next, we have our counter, Annie. Welcome, Annie. Please explain your role.
Yes, my role is to count any ums, ahs, so's, or that tricky word, and I use that too often. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have our grammarian. Please share your role with us, Andre.
Yes, Madam Toastmaster of today, Sunny. Andrei Smolenka from Manchester, UK, and I'm your grammarian for today. My role is pretty simple. I will be looking out for the particularly good use of English language. Something that I like, something that really stands out from the normal speech. At the same time, I will introduce the word of the day, and I will encourage each and every one of you to use it appropriately and as many times as you can. I will give you reports at the end of the meeting about the use of English language and how many times the words of the day been used. And the word of the day is edification, meaning the moral or intellectual instruction or improvement of someone. For example, a video was filmed for the edification of clients. Please use it appropriately, and I'll come back to you at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Sunny.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grammarian. Now, our next two roles are special to online presenters, Toastmasters. Here to explain the watcher role is our chatty Jim.
With
Welcome,
pleasure,
Jim.
Madam Toastmaster. My fellow Toastmasters, in the interests of time, as the watcher this evening, I am a visual grammarian. I don't care what you say as long as you look good when you're saying it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
All right, and you are looking good, and thanks for that edification of your role. But wait, there's more. We have a chat monitor. He is always busy edifying us. Please help me welcome Dr. Andy Byrne to the virtual stage.
Thank you very much. The role of the chat monitor is to keep their eye on the utilization of chat, which is the intra-club communication system while the Zoom meeting is going on. I'll look for etiquette in terms of using the chat only when people are not speaking. I'll be looking at what they have to say and how they're saying it. I'll report at the end when we're doing our evaluation session. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Now that we've been introduced to our fabulous team, it's time for one of our favorite features, Tip of the Day. That's where we gain valuable insight on text, technique, or leadership. Please help me welcome David Carr to the virtual stage with this week's tech tip.
Actually, it's not a tech tip. For a change, I'm giving a tip about something else, which is something that I learned from the world champion public speech this year, or rather, really from an analysis that other people had done of his speech, breaking it down moment by moment and element by element to show what made it work. And to explain what I'm talking about, there is a moment early on in the speech where he talks about being a performer or his love of performing and how pursuing that wasn't easy for them because he had an Indian father who told him he had 3 career choices. He could be, a doctor, a lawyer, or a disappointment. I'm sorry, I'm not quite getting the hand gestures right here. But it's doctor, lawyer up here, disappointment way down below. And it's an example of using the rule of three, which some of you probably are way ahead of me in this, but I sort of misunderstood what people were talking about when they said you should apply the rule of three to your speeches. I thought it meant you should give a boring speech that says, today I'm going to tell you three things. 1, 2, 3. And at the end, you would sum it up by saying, in summary, the three things I want you to remember are 1, 2, 3. And as somebody who wants to express big, complicated thoughts, I tended to rebel against that. Although it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for me to try and simplify my things down into 3 points, even if it was 3 chapters, and maybe within that there'd be 3 points. But really the rule of three is about sentence construction. It's about making things memorable. And that's what he does here. And I found an essay by the world champion speaker that he actually wrote several years ago, and it was about business presentations, about presentations on finance, and how you tend to make people go to sleep by trying to explain 10 things, explain 20 things. If you can boil it down to 3, it makes a significant difference. Often it's in the sequence of good, better, best, but it can also be this, and then contrasting item for humor, which is what he uses in that section. I'll post a blog post that I wrote about this that includes some video clips that are relevant and some links to other articles. I'd appreciate it if you would like and share that, and perhaps learn from it. Toastmaster of the day.
We can't hear you, Sonny.
Thank you for that edification of making sure you turn on your mic. I never met a mic I didn't like. And now, as I was saying, as I gather my thoughts, it's now time for prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Kirthikka Devi Venkataram. Her speech is from level 4, Strategic Relationships. Now, timer, her speech is 15 to 20 minutes. At 15 minutes, she will hold a question and answer session. The title of her speech is Ask Me Anything. Ask Me Anything. Here is Kirthikka Devi Venkataram. Please welcome her to the virtual stage.
Thank you, Philodos. I'm Kirthikka Devi Venkataram. I'm the Vice President Public Relations of Online Presenters. Hope you know me like this. There is another version of me. I'm Kirthikka Devi Venkataram. I am an embedded designer, design thinker, and a product creator who have a profound knowledge on embedded systems and hold a master degree. I have led cross-functional teams over a decade, and I have been associated with tech industry for more than 15 years. My background shows me about a little of what I do and what I have done. You can ask me anything. I'll be happy to answer. Projecting to specific questions that is innate to these pictures or any information that you wanted to know or any information or discussion that you wanted to discuss with me on any topic that I'll be happy to share with you all. I'm hearing for the first question.
All right, I'll begin then, if I may. Kirthikka, behind you, there are a whole lot of different things about you. How do you, on a daily basis, decide what you're going to be today?
A wonderful question, Graham. Every single individual wanted to have a target and goal to be achieved. The reason for a human being to be on this earth is to achieve certain thing. I follow a strategic framework which has been promoted by one of the strategic advisor, Hook Blank. He says, you need to fix what you want to do as a first step. And the second step is you need to identify what are the bottlenecks or the ways that it hinders you to achieve the goals of the target. The third step is what you do on a daily basis to achieve the target. To me, I wanted to become proficient in writing, speaking, apart from achieving my career goal. The day I starts with the set of subscriptions that I subscribe in my email. Generally, it would be based on technology, leadership, and business skills. I take a look into all the updates that is happening on a daily basis, being in a tech industry, and then move forward to my regular activities of checking the social media platform. After which, I find out what is really hindering me to achieve the target of me securing my career path or to move forward in my career path. I try to project the obstacles exactly promoting and proposing as a solution provider and as a problem solver, not as a problem creator on a whole. And the third step is, for me, what do I do on a daily basis? Read, observe, and then propose new ideas and solutions where it could be taken forward. So these are the steps that I follow that really gives me an importance of or the value as a person to lead a life. Over to you, Graham. I believe I answered the question.
You did indeed. If I can ask, unless there's somebody else wants to first, I do have a follow-up specifically related to your career. You spoke about a number of steps that you take during the day. You mentioned reading the emails. Is there a strategy which you would suggest we use to effectively deal with those emails that are waiting for us when we arrive?
Definitely. There are hundreds of platforms where you can subscribe to feeds, RSS feeds, which is of your interest. You can create your own workflow or feeds that could directly float into your email box. A specific step, what I would suggest is using an AI agent as your assistant to create a workflow that will give you the RSS feed of your interest that helps you to get to you or to reach the goal. For example, if it is going to be based on AI technology, or if it is going to be based on embedded systems, or if it is going to be based on design thinking, I have to look for RSS feed, which is floated on internet. That's quite difficult. But when you look or when you use tools like ChatGPT, Gemini Pro, specifically of certain versions, recently Claude, which is from Anthropic, these AI agentic assistants help you to gather information in a minutes of or in seconds to get into your inbox. That could be created as an AI workflow that helps you to get what you want from internet, which is a bed of information that's floated with lot many things, and where misinformation is also there, where you could also filter out using the negative prompts that you provide using these tools. It's basically prompting, and the usage of AI tools will help you to reach your goals. And that's my whole suggestion about this. Did I answer your question, and was that helpful to you?
Yes, that was, and I note there are a couple of suggestions have come up in the chat as well. But look, I've dominated the AMA enough. It's time for somebody else who may have a question. I see that Andrew's hand just went up.
Yes, Andrew?
My question is this. More and more applications are including within the application AI assistance, including the ability to actually create applications, complex applications, applications that normally would be hundreds of lines of code, and they're now doing that simply. I use that myself on an application, and I put it in the chat, a company that's called base44.com. And I created a timer, Toastmaster timer, in about 30 seconds that had about 500 lines of code. Does everything that I wanted to do, even better than the Toastmaster one that was posted. So my question is this: as these programs become better and better, as prompts become more natural language, what are the prospects for your job to continue? Or will you be completely overwhelmed by the ability of regular people that don't know code, don't know computers, don't have masters in computer science degrees, be able to do everything that you spent years of your life learning how to do?
This is a deep question, Andrew. As you have mentioned, I have myself built an own Zoom AI timer using ChatGPT 5. That's a base for building a complete wrapper of React plus Vite-based which supports the front end and back end development on a whole and creates the complete project for you, giving the structuring as well as giving the 1,000+ lines of code on its own to be projected as a fruitful application. I am not sure if I'll be able to share that with you right now because it's still in the testing phase. I can also give you a slight review, before which I wanted to answer your question. To be precise on our focus, we have less time in our life when we see the level of technological advancements that is happening. Gartner's maturity model of technology says we are at the level of trough of disillusionment. Different technological advancement are at different stages of development, and specifically if we see the AI maturity, it's under trough of disillusionment, a phase where we have passed innovation and we are right now into the production stage. We still have a lot of triggers which is coming up, specifically like hallucination, reflexion. And when we speak about multimodal aspects where speech, text, video, voice, all of them combine together to create an impact in our generative or creative content that we generate using generative AI as a tool, we need to be specific about how we are going to use it on a whole. The first thing which we need to understand is just not creating applications. What is the way that we create application and how is it going to impact? Say, for example, this online applications, specifically the Zoom timer that you were speaking about, and I was also trying out to build one Lego application, a Lego game that could be played online. There are n number of such applications. What is the safety concern when this application is being released? Is it really malicious to the community that we floated around? What is the security concern as an individual that we use such application? What are the accountability and responsibility as an author to the application where it is still in the evolving phase to take the ownership and the trademark of the application that we built in using AI is getting progressed at this point in time. So these are certain rules and regulations which are getting enacted. Recently, United Nations has proposed artificial general intelligence, like the framework which got released in this September. I have written an article about it in Medium. I encourage you all to read that. So those kind of proposal which is being already there in place, that is getting into an intersection of business, ethics, and human connectivity on a whole, gives us a major impact not only to one user but on a whole to the world of communication and the world of interconnected system, where safety and security becomes the priority. The second question that I wanted to focus from your the answer that I want to focus from your question is, what are we giving back to the society not only depends on the deliverables, but on the way that we also promote the deliverables. Say, for example, there was an impact created by the organization Replit that wiped off the production code in this July 2025. There was a great nuanced conversation that was going on a social media platform between the CEO of the organization and the owner of Replit. We are still evolving in this case. The requirements are still getting evolved, which makes us little more profound by the way that we use AI and its tools. We have not gone into a production stage because even today, companies and the CEOs or the CTOs who completely align to get AI at scale into their maturity model think, or they do have a second thought when it comes to implementation because of such failures and impact that it has created, which is going to be a loss to the business. That is a major concern.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. I encourage you all to look into the picture and then select any one picture so that I'll be able to describe any one of it.
I see hands up from Sunny and also from Joni.
I believe Joni is next.
All right, thank you, Sunny. Now, whenever you come with an open-ended question and answer and say, ask me anything, you really need to be careful because there might just be somebody like me in the audience who is literally going to ask you anything. But don't worry, I'll keep it PG. We're online. It's a Toastmasters meeting. Now, you said you're a multi-potentialite and you're showing all of the varying things that you are able to do. But I also note you saying that you don't want to cause trouble. But all forms of changes or any form of differentiation from the norm will cause trouble because you're disrupting a system. Now, what do you have in place to mitigate and manage whatever disruption that your insertion, especially since you do have a varied view on how to do things, what is your plan for how to mitigate and manage that? And then the second part is also keeping in mind that I don't believe AI hallucinates. I believe garbage in, garbage out. And if you're scrubbing the entire internet, again, there may just be somebody like me out there that gave it some advice that might be not the norm. So how do you mitigate those experiences?
Wonderful question, Yuri. The second picture over here with a rabbit and a turtle, which is trying to move forward. This gives you the answer for your first question. We are trying to race at the same stage where we did not even have a framework, but we have started deploying production-based products based on AI. It's because of the market agility. It's because of the competition, the fiercefulness that every single country wanted to secure their own leadership. When we see a lot of AI models, around 35 plus models have been released by USA. The second place goes to China. And the rest of the players come into picture after that. There is a semiconductor shortage, and there is a shortage in the raw materials that is used for semiconductors on a whole. These are certain technological drawbacks or technological shortages that is being projected. But the actual problem is the business which needs to be flourished and the way leadership power has to be gained. This is a strategic play which is being played around. We cannot step into that. But what we can do is we can understand prompting, understanding this figure, doing a technology study on a daily basis. Like this thing, this Fun Friday is one column that I've started with Women Who Code Data Science community. This community doesn't exist right now, but this community had a plenty of way that I was able to propose certain things. And one is Fun Friday, understanding the technology in a fun way. I am an advocate of AI, and I also wanted to understand how it is going to impact. And that has been taken forward through my participation in hackathons, in selective hackathons, which gives me a deeper understanding of what technology does from the business point of view and to the consumers, also to the customers. And the third part is leading, like the writing blogs, like the art of learning. This is a specific technical, leadership blog where I wanted to propose certain technological flaws or leadership attributes, or I could also say leadership traits, leadership qualities, coaching and skills, how it can lead to lead a high performing team as well as bring out better products into market. That is how I do. And I think I'm running out of time. Yoni, if I'm not sure if I completely addressed your question, I'll be happy to answer you offline or send you as an email as well. Please, over to you, Yoni.
I believe you mean over to me. Are you finished with your segment, Kirthikka?
I
Or
see
no?
the timer. I see the timer to be in red,
Red.
so I'm just stopping here.
Thank you so much, Kirthikka, and thank you everyone who contributed to Ask Her Anything. And now it's time to not ask, but let's continue to listen. Next is our second speaker. Karry Kong will share a humorous and heartfelt story about her introverted cousin and the surprising lessons that he learned about connection through his passions. Her 5 to 7 minute speech is titled Couches, Doritos, and Anime. Please help me welcome Karry to the virtual stage. You are muted, Karry.
Can anyone see my screen? Perfect.
I see your screen and I hear you.
Okay. Okay, we can start the speech from here. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning or good evening, our Toastmasters fellows. Do you see my little kill Hello Kitty decoration that I'm putting on top of my head today? Do you think it's cute? Okay, don't tell me the answer. Definitely you're saying yes. Today, I really want to share a story with you. When I'm really asked to speak the speech of like giving a humorous speech, I'm thinking I'm actually not a really humorous person. I'm trying to make the best. Today, I want to share a story about my Yeah, I think somebody muted me. Yeah, that's one of the accident that we need to deal with. I know you don't want to talk. You don't want me to talk about this topic, but I'm going to continue. Okay, I'm going to start with a story with my cousin. When he went off college, he pretty much decided his social life was optional. He didn't go to parties, he skipped students' events, he went to the dormitory, he had no girlfriend and girlfriends. So he technically only went to the dining hall when it was practically empty. His parents were really worried about him. Oh, Karry, what do you think is going wrong with him? So that I was like, I really don't know. They asked me, is he being antisocial? He's sitting with his Doritos all day at night. No. I really love my cousin. But I'm really being honest, I wasn't sure how to answer this question. Because technically, if you consider watching anime alone with a giant bag of Doritos a social activity, yes, he's very active. Then one day I was in the city and I saw a guy who was walking by wearing a hoodie with big bold letters. Do you see this? Have you ever seen this in the past? Yes. So it's a hoodie with the big bold words, Anti-Social Social Club. At first, I laughed out loud. Anti-social social club, how could it be possible? Is that even allowed? A club for people who don't even like clubs. Do they hold meetings? Bi-weekly meetings? How could it be social? Maybe the first rule of anti-social social club is to stop socializing. But the longer I looked at the hoodie, the more it makes sense to me. It was an inspiration. Maybe it wasn't saying, sorry, I really don't like people and I hate people. It was saying, hey, I'm not the life of the party, but I still belong to somewhere. And suddenly, I thought of my cousin. At one point, we chatted together. I started to give him some little inspiration. Cousin, Kevin, if you could not really go to some clubs that's openly open, why don't you just establish your own groups? Go offline and online and go find your own group of people who love anime and establish those small talks, starting to start a little group chat. And maybe you can start an anime club. What about that in your college? Have you ever thought about that? He started to think about that and say, maybe, I don't know, Gen Z people are all like that, when they are trying to respond to your question. But then something miraculous happened. Whew! He started to do something. He started online, small steps, at first a gaming forum. And then once he found a little bit more people who loved chatting with about the same thing, anime. Who is the greatest anime character of all time? You tell me. They were debating about that at 2 a.m. in the morning. If I can say it, maybe it's Naruto or maybe it's Hello Kitty. You don't know, I love Hello Kitty. It's the greatest anime character of the whole world. Then they started debating, and the group chat grew bigger and bigger. At first, it was only 10 people, but then hundreds of people started to join the chat. Even they were just curious to see what was going on in this little club and little group chat over there. Who? The guy who was once avoided all the small talk in the hallway suddenly running to become a big character. He started to run late night debates about these, and they start to think about making friends in an alternative way. They were introvert, but at the same time, they are extrovert. Think about that. If they were open to themselves, they are more chatty than you. Maybe they will sit together by gathering together in a cat cafe and talking about anime, just like me. If you think that Karry is really extrovert, No, I just want to tell you, sometimes I'm also really introvert. I love anime and I love watching English movies. Maybe you have already noticed that. Everybody has a side of introversy. So now, when I really see the anti-social club hoodie, I no longer laugh at them. Actually, I respect them by treating them like a god. I don't actually see that a fashion brand. I see a reminder. It's an edification to ourselves. It's not representing a flaw. It means another type of belonging. You know, if you just see someone who's a little bit quiet this time, don't assume that they are closed off. Maybe they have some hidden talent. They have some common interest that other people share. They are the big boss, just like my cousin Kevin. If you see this hoodie next time, and if you see somebody who's really introvert or wearing the anti-social club hoodie, you smile at them and you will know nobody is 100% extrovert and nobody is 100% introvert. We are all somewhere in between. We just need to find our own circle. So yes, we are all in this together. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow. You may think that you're an introvert, but I love your extrovert attitude when you're here on camera. Thank you for that delightful speech, Karry. Now it's time for our third speaker. She joined Toastmasters in 2011. She once felt uncomfortable speaking impromptu, but tonight she's turning fear into courage. Her project is titled The Power of Humor in an Impromptu Speech. It's level 4 from Engaging Humor. Please welcome Toastmaster Assyl to the virtual stage. All right, hello, hello, Assyl, I'm looking for you. Hello, Assyl. Let me, for the edification of our guests or new members, explain how this works. I will give Assyl 2 impromptu questions, one at a time, and she will speak for 2 to 3 minutes each. Now that's real time thinking on your feet. Are you ready, Assyl?
Ready?
There you are. All right, you are ready. Here is your first question. Assyl, you are delivering a speech that requires presentation slides. Your computer stops working and you need to fill the time with an engaging speech while the technology issue is repaired. I'll repeat. Assyl, you are delivering a speech that requires presentation slides. Your computer stops working and you need to fill the time with an engaging speech while the technology issue is repaired.
You know, at Toastmasters, they always say, have your speech prepared. But what they don't tell you that is you have to prepare for the part where technology decides to have an existential crisis or have a coffee break. And it happens in front of 200 people. They told me just a few minutes. But you know what? I have failure in technology and my slides don't work. And I don't know what that means in technology language. It might be like from 90 seconds or until Tuesday when my online presenters run their meetings. We spend all this money on technology to make things seamless and efficient, and yet we Google, why this thing doesn't turn on. And you know what? That's exactly why we need backup plans. And that's what exactly Toastmasters train us. But hopefully, I'm not a disaster when it comes to backup. What we need for that? Physical props or some exercises to engage your group. And you need to remember what we have on that slide. We need to train ourselves that communication never fails. That's what we learn at Toastmasters, just to fill that gaps when the technology fixes. And when it fixes, then we can ask, are we back yet? Almost? Good. Please welcome our presenter to the stage. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, you did a great job on that. And remember, timer 2 to 3 minutes is her time. 2 minutes, 2:30, and red at 3. So here is the second question for you. The anticipation. There's a sudden thunderstorm at a picnic for a large family reunion. Everyone is stuck in a gazebo. Assyl, you decide to speak for a few minutes to entertain the group while the rain passes. There's a sudden thunderstorm at a picnic for a large family reunion. Everyone is stuck in a gazebo. You decide to speak for a few minutes to entertain the group while the rain passes.
Well, while we're waiting for the rain to pass, let me tell you about a dream that I had when I was a child. In the Soviet Union, our homes had these heaters that looked like harmonicas, big metal things. In the living room, we'd roll out handmade mattresses on the carpet where you can rest or you can sleep, have a good naps. I mean, just good naps, not a good nap. One night, I fell asleep and had this dream. I heard explosions outside in my dream, and I panicked. I tried to open the door, but the door wouldn't open. Then I looked around, and I saw that metal bed. You know that in the Soviet Union, we have this squeaky, metal, heavy bed, and there were suitcases under the bed. And there was like a hole in the wall. I thought, if I can crawl through that hole, I'll escape. So I pushed and struggled, squeezing myself towards those suitcases. And then I couldn't. I got stuck. I pushed myself again. It didn't work. And then I woke up, and it turned out I buried my head straight into the heater. That's how I tried to go through those suitcases to get to that hole, to escape this fear being stuck in the room. That dream still haunts me And thankfully, we don't have those heaters anymore. And we don't have that Soviet Union style things anymore. I'm so happy. So, but today we have to be stuck together in this gazebo. Now we can share our dreams and not feel like that. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. That was really courage in action, thinking on your feet, not one, but two impromptu questions. You did a great job, Assyl, and you will be evaluated in our next portion. Timer, did all our speakers speak within time?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. Kirthikka was 19 minutes, 32 seconds. Our second speaker was 7 minutes, 21 seconds. That was Karry, and Assyl was 2 minutes, 47 seconds and 3 minutes, 3 seconds.
Awesome. Thank you. Everyone's qualified, and I'm
Yes.
sure that a link will be put in the chat for you to vote for your favorite speaker. I mentioned earlier, this is International Coaches Day for our theme. And a coach, it's been said that a coach is someone who can give correction without causing resentment. That's by John Wooden. That quote reminds us that coaching is not about criticism, but edification. It's lifting up others up while helping them to become their best selves. And now it's time to meet someone who wants to become best at speaking. And he is a guest who is interested in joining our club. To introduce our prospective member, please welcome our Vice President of Membership / Timer, Allison.
Thank you once again, Madam Toastmaster. It is my pleasure today as the VP of Membership to announce a prospective member speech. Kai Lee is going to demonstrate his speaking ability. He wants to join us in our pursuit of edification to become better presenters and speakers. Kai Lee lives in Singapore. He is trained in accounting. He is currently focused on his personal growth, exploring new opportunities and career pathways. Kai is passionate about wellness through CrossFit and nutrition. He enjoys reading and loves trekking in nature. He values continuous learning, community engagement, which fuels his ambition to develop as a communicator and a leader. Please help me welcome to the virtual stage Mr. Kai Lee for his prospective member speech. Kai, the floor is yours.
Good morning, evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Kai, and I'm giving my prospective members speech today. Recently, I read a book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, Be Your Future Self Now. The core message in this book is simple yet profound. Embody the person you try to be today, and you'll lead a happier and more successful life. Or so I was told. I followed some of the tips in the book religiously for edification purposes, right? And one of which is for me to write a letter to my future wiser self. And so I started that conversation, that self-dialogue. I asked, how do you actually overcome the imposter syndrome in speaking? How did you become this prolific speaker? The anxiety that grips you and the fear of not being enough. How can I become you? He replied in a calm and encouraging voice, just like a mentor. Work on your communication skills. Communication mastery is key. Build your communication muscles. Instantly, I thought of Toastmaster. I reflected. It's been 7 months since I joined Online Presenters as a guest, but I'm still a guest. They say insanity is when you keep doing the same things over and over again, yet you expect a different result. I was insane. I needed to change. Online Presenters is where I want to be because it is a place of genuine transformation. Every time I join this club for a meeting, I always learn something new. I mean, everyone here is friendly, supportive, and this is a very diverse group. They often say you are the average of the 5 people you hang out the most with. And so for me, in the coming year, I really want to hang out more with all of you, to learn from all of you, and at the same time to contribute to the club. And so with this, I end my prospective members' speech. Thank you for listening. Back to you.
Thank you, Kai. What an amazing speech. And we'll pass it back to our Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Sunny Fridge.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Allison. And also, thank you, Kai. And you mentioned Dr. Ben Hardy. I had the opportunity to interview him for probably 50 minutes, and I actually bought his book. He's an amazing coach and mentor. Now here's a growth quote. Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. That's by John C. Crosby. And now, the final portion of our meeting. Well, the next portion, because we already had a mini session of table topics. We're going to go straight into our evaluations. Please help me welcome our general evaluator, Marianne Grady. She'll lead the evaluation segment of our meeting.
Why, good evening, my friends. Tonight, I am here as your general evaluator. I want to share a quote with you. Public speaking can serve as a powerful tool for the edification of the audiences, inspiring them with knowledge and new perspectives. And that's really why we do this. We want to get better at it. We want to fine tune it. And this feedback portion of our meeting helps us do that. So tonight, while we had a great round of super strong speakers, we have some heavy hitter evaluators. And first up, we have Graham Cairns, and he will be evaluating Kirthikka. Please welcome Graham.
Madam General Evaluator, Toastmasters. And I'll include Kai in that because I reckon you're going to be one of those after our vote, he says, predicting. The purpose of any presentation is generally one of 2 things. Either it's edification, that is information, or entertainment, that is to make us feel good. I'm not sure which of these categories I would suggest that today's Q&A session, or AMA, Ask Me Anything, from Kirthikka comes into, but it was certainly edifying, as in I learned an awful lot about Kirthikka. In fact, I probably learned more than I had time to absorb in 20 minutes, which brings me to my first observation for Kirthikka. The use of an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, was something that I haven't seen done in this project. But you needed to define what an Ask Me Anything is. I mean, I know what AMAs are. I love AMAs. I follow AMAs on Reddit all the time because I learn an enormous amount about a lot of people. But it isn't something that is widespread outside the technical world. So perhaps a little definition might have been useful. The other observation I would make about AMAs is that you gave us so many options to ask you about that we didn't actually learn as much as we might have if you had defined it. If you had said, okay, I am all of these things behind me. I am this, 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 I am this. We haven't got time to do that. So let's just talk about and choose one of those things. And then let us ask you anything about that specific thing. Then there would have been better opportunity for us to get into it. I would say that you had wide-ranging responses, Kirthikka, and I really enjoyed seeing you strut your stuff. You knew your material. You let us know, and you also let us know that you had thought deeply about these issues, and that's important when you're doing an AMA. We don't want glib throwaway answers, but we do want them to be sufficiently focused that we can take them away. And that would be my second observation for you. By giving such comprehensive responses, you didn't give us nuggets that we could take away. And that would be a primary suggestion for you. One other observation for you, and I know you put a lot of work into that background, showing us the various aspects of Kirthikka, saying, this is who I am, this is what you should be asking me about. But particularly over your left shoulder, I think it was, but anyway, on this side of the screen, there was a GIF which was constantly moving, constantly changing, and constantly drawing my attention away from you to it. I don't like the use of moving wallpaper behind us when we are speaking. Unless there is a specific purpose for that moving wallpaper, use something static so that the focus remains on you as presenter rather than on what is that going on over her left shoulder. Look, this was a brave thing to do. I've never, as I say, seen an Ask Me Anything used for a Q&A session. I think you succeeded, and you certainly answered a number of questions, but I think you could have answered more if you had focused more directly on one aspect of the Kirthikka Devi Venkataram story, so that we could then ask you more about that rather than about a whole lot of stuff. Madam General Evaluator.
Well, thank you, sir. Next up, we have Mr. Jim Barber evaluating Karry Kong's speech, Couches, Doritos, and Anime. I just had to say that title one more time. So please put your hands together for Jim Barber.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, my fellow Toastmasters. I was so looking forward to the second presentation. It was going to be a treat, a humorous presentation by Karry Kong. Karry, you did not disappoint. I was going to cut you some slack because you indicated ahead of time that you weren't feeling well. You might be coughing and that sort of thing. Okay, that happens. It didn't show. If you weren't feeling well, you hit it very, very well, and I never heard you cough. This was a superb presentation, as most of your presentations are. You were well prepared. It was well presented. For example, you have wonderful, wonderful and effective vocal variety. The variety is in cadence, it's in pace, it's in volume, it's in pitch. Let's see. Effective use of pauses. Oh, you were wonderful in using the pause. Love that. All of this combined, your vocal variety, it didn't stay in one place. You changed from one thing to another as it was appropriate. It is a very conversational and a very effective presentation style that brings us in. It captures us, holds our attention. What I liked best, though, I got to tell you, the thing that really impressed me was your closing. You closed with 6 simple words. You said, and I'm going to do it as closely as the way you did it as I can, we are all in this together. I love the way that you spaced it out like that you phrased it, speaking each word distinctly. We are all in this together. That summed up your presentation. You talked about being antisocial, but this brought it together. We are all in this together. Wonderfully done. It was a great soundbite. It was a great closing. I have one suggestion for you along that same line. Edit. Take this, as I say, this presentation I thought was great. Take out anything that isn't contributing to the presentation. You were giving a humorous presentation. If it isn't funny or it isn't setting something up to be funny, don't put it in. For example, towards the beginning of your presentation, you said, I want to share a story with you. Now, first of all, we don't really care what you want. We care what we want. So don't tell us, I want to share a story with you. Also, there's nothing funny about that. And it's not setting up anything to be funny. Basically, get rid of it. Jump right into the story. Go to that. That's what we wanted to hear. A humorous story from Karry Kong. Give us that. Don't tell us what you're going to do. But this is a minor little point. This was a brilliant presentation, and I am looking forward to a future edification and the merits of being antisocial presented by Karry Kong. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Well, thank you, Jim. And honestly, I don't think that's a little thing, what you just said. I think it's a big thing. So great job tonight. And our final evaluator for the evening is our founding president, Mr. David F. Carr. Please welcome David as he evaluates Assyl.
Assyl, thank you for taking us along with you on this improvisational journey. So, fellow Toastmasters, what Assyl shared with us today is sort of an amped up version of a table topics. There's an expectation that this is actually going to be 2 compact speeches that will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It'll have some structure to them. And we want to see that in table topics too. But we're just ratcheting up the expectations a little bit on her here. And I think she did a good job of delivering. My very favorite moment in the speech is the line about that moment when technology suffers an existential crisis, or maybe technology just goes on a coffee break. That was so perfect. And you're bringing us into a common experience that we all have some challenges with, which is technology failing at the worst possible time. Now, of course, potentially, if this had been a real situation where you were giving a speech, particularly if you're giving a speech to somebody other than Toastmasters, you would spend those 3 minutes talking about something else other than the fact that technology was letting you down. So you dwelled on that, but you did it in an entertaining way. And you made some references to Toastmasters. The scenario wasn't necessarily that you were speaking to Toastmasters group, but it certainly could have been. Wasn't specified either way, I don't think. One potential missed opportunity is at some point you said something about, we know that communication never fails. And I thought maybe you could have gone on to say, well, communication never fails, only communicators fail. That's my twist on it, at any rate. The second story, I think, probably was even better because you were in this situation where you were trapped, you were hiding from the rain at a picnic or something, and you brought us into this experience of being trapped, feeling trapped in your nightmare, and brought us into the vision of this Soviet era apartment or home with the big clanking heater and struggling through the suitcases, trying to find freedom, and I guess finding yourself that you had actually plowed your way across the room in your sleep. while you were in the middle of this nightmare. And so I thought it was a very vivid description. You brought us someplace that we haven't all been before, a Soviet era living quarters. And so I think that one was even better. They were both good. And I look forward to your next speech, your next impromptu speech, but one that you've had a chance to prepare for too. Madam General Evaluator.
Well, thank you, sir. Allison, do all of our evaluators qualify?
Yes, Madam General Evaluator, all of our evaluators qualify.
Thank you kindly. Please, at this time, vote for your favorite evaluator. And now I'm going to ask our reporters for the night to give us the report in very quick, succinct fashion, because we are running very late. I'll counter Annie Martin.
Yes, thank you very much. What an easy role I had because there were so few. David had a couple. He had 4 ers. Kirthikka had the majority, but then again, she had the majority of speaking time, 6 ums and 13 ers. And they were the only ones I could hear. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly. Next up, grammarian Andre.
Well, thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. The words of the day, edification, has been used on a number of occasions. The champion is Sunny. She used it 4 times. Quite a few people joining, Karry, Kai, Graham as well, use the word as well, and very appropriately. I've been listening carefully to the particularly good use of the English language, but 2 speakers really stood out. Speaker number 1, of course, is Karry. What he said was online presenters is a place of genuine transformation. It's like a honey unto my soul. Thank you very much, Kai, for that. And of course, my champion, personal champion for the day is Jim Barber with his phrase, I don't care what you say, as long as you look good saying that. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator. Marianne, back to you.
Thank you, Andre. Next up, chat monitor, Andrew Byrne.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. There was a little bit of light use of the chat, mostly for congratulations and positive comments. Some informational items were permitted, and the timer put in the timing amount so that people could see what was going on. In all effective use of the chat, and I'm keeping this brief to edify all of you.
Well, thank you, sir. And for my general evaluation, I'm going to also keep it very short. We had wonderful speakers. We had very interesting evaluators and another wonderful meeting. Now I'm going to pass it to our vote counter and president, Joni Laidlaw.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to our immediate past president and general evaluator, Marianne Grady. Now we have 1 minute to hurry and wrap up. So let's go into our best speaker, and our best speaker is Karry Kong. Now we are gonna move into our best evaluator, and the best evaluator today, and it was really extremely close, literally 1 vote. But the winner is Jim Barber as the best evaluator today. Overall, we had a great meeting. Just a quick reminder to everyone, it is due season. It's time to renew. If you haven't, if you already have, just ignore her. She has to say it. It's a part of the role. But let me say thank you to everyone who already has renewed, and for everyone who shows up to make sure that they're doing their speeches, taking part, evaluating to ensure that we're gonna hit our goal this year. for our Toastmasters International overall requirement. With that, I now call the meeting to an adjournment, and I look forward to one